السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه أما بعد. So dear brothers and sisters, we completed yesterday the understanding of the concept of Iman and what it consists of, the components of this great compound of Iman. We discussed all that, and now we begin our discussion with the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And I said we will break down this discussion under 4 headings, inshaAllah. The first heading is, what are the proofs of the existence of the Creator, of God, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself? So proofs for the existence of the Creator. And then we'll discuss, after establishing that, we will discuss Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, believing in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as far as His Lordship is concerned. Then number 3, believing in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as far as His Godship is concerned. And then last but not least, the unique names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and believing in the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also unique in His names and His attributes. And no one shares any name or attribute with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the sense that it majestically deserves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So today we begin a very interesting subject, a very interesting heading. Proofs for the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as I mentioned, this is something that even the classical scholars of Islam, of Islamic theology, of Aqidah, they discussed this. And they made an argument for this. Because the Quran itself consists of very many types of arguments. It creates a case for the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, how we will discuss it, we will discuss Western proofs vis-a-vis the Quranic proofs. So we'll discuss Western proofs first, from Western philosophers and thinkers and theologians, and then we will discuss the Quranic proofs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's existence, and then we will have a conclusion, whereby we will prove how deficient and how weak the Western proofs are compared to the proofs of the Holy Quran. We will also reach to that conclusion in order for us as Muslims to understand that the Quran is yet morally superior. So this is how we will go about this discussion. Now, of course, when we discuss about the proofs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's existence from a Western perspective, there are so many arguments. I have just chosen a few. Just a few. And also as a caveat, just for us to be aware of, this is a very intricate and a complicated discussion. It's a very academic and also a very convoluted and philosophical discussion. However, it's important for us to understand this. Because, for example, if someone comes and asks you, what proof do you have for the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What are you going to answer? So this is why it's important for us to equip ourselves with the necessary knowledge. So I will present maybe 3 or 4 Western arguments and 2 or 3 Quranic arguments, and then we will get to the conclusive part, inshaAllah. The first argument is what is known as the ontological argument. This argument was first introduced by St. Anselm of Canterbury. He was a theologian and a philosopher, a theologian of the Catholic Church and also a philosopher. It's a very interesting argument. However, while interesting, it has rarely convinced anyone to follow any faith tradition. Rarely, historically speaking, rarely convinced anyone to follow any faith tradition. What is this argument? He begins by defining God. So he asks the question, who is God? And this is the definition that he gives. And I will go very slowly so that we can digest what is being said and also understand. The definition that he gives of God is that than which nothing greater can be thought of. The most superior being to exist. Nothing greater than Him could be conceived by the mind, could be thought of. Do you agree with that? You agree with this? St. Anselm says, if you agree with this postulation, then you are a fool to deny the existence of the Creator. How so? He says, he gives an example. Take the concept of a pen in your mind and take a pen in the real sense. Which of the two concepts are greater? That which exists in reality or the concept that exists in your mind? Which is greater? Which is greater? A physical pen that exists in reality, a mobile phone that exists in reality, or the concept of the existence of a mobile phone in your mind? Something which is abstract. Which is greater? Of course, you're not even answering anything. Of course the real pen. Of course the real mobile. So this proves that existing in reality is greater than existing in the mind. Logically. Because what will you do with a pen that exists in the mind? I can't even write with it. Will you write on the papers of your mind? You will even forget. It would even stick. So that's impossible. So he says this necessitates that God has to exist in the real sense. He has to exist in reality, because existing in the mind is not stronger than existing in reality. And he defined God to be that than which nothing greater can be thought of. And he says if you believe otherwise, then this is a logical contradiction, because it will make you believe in other things that are greater than the God who is the greatest possible existing being ever. So he says, according to his argument, he says, by definition, God must exist, and his existence can't be reasonably denied. I hope you understood this example. It's a very interesting argument. If you have caught it, you have caught it. If you haven't caught it, don't mind. But when we speak about the Quranic arguments for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's existence, then I would want you to understand how the Quran creates this argument, and how convincing it is, and how simple it is. With these philosophical Western arguments, they use sophisticated language, premises that are faulty, and so many other complications. But the Quran is very simple. It appeals to every mind. Anyhow, it's interesting, but as I said, historically speaking, it has barely attracted or convinced anyone to accept any faith tradition. The second argument that I will discuss today, and that will be it for today, is known as the cosmological argument. This is a very strong argument, and it also complements some of the arguments of the Holy Quran. It's an argument that was used by medieval philosophers and even the scholars of Kalam. This Kalam, when I say Kalam, it means the Muslim philosophers, because there was a great contingent and a great genre of scholars who actually got driven away by philosophy. And they tried to balance between the two, but some of them could not, and you will never be able, right? These are two different concepts. Quran is something, philosophy is something completely different, and they contradict in many aspects. So it's a very strong argument, and it goes as follows, very simple. It has two premises and a conclusion. The first premise is everything that began existence must have been caused by something. This is the first premise. Everything that began existence must have been created by something. Premise number two, the universe began to exist. So the conclusion of these two premises is what? The universe must have a creator that brought it into existence. Simple. This is the logical argument. However, people ask this question, then who is the creator of the creator? If the universe has a creator, and to us that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who created the creator? Now I don't want to give the Quranic argument, I will give the logical answer to this. We will get to the Quranic argument. If we believe in this, and we say, or you ask the question, who created the creator that created the creator that created the creator? This will lead to what is known as an infinite regress of causes. And philosophically speaking, or logically speaking, this is a logical impossibility. It's a rational impossibility to have an infinite regress of causes. Because if you do that, then you will not have the effect. If you have a forever cause of creators, then the universe will never exist. So it must be believed that there is an uncreated creator. It has to stop somewhere. And that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or else the effect will not be there. The universe will cease to exist. Will not exist. So this is known as the cosmological argument. So we discussed about the ontological argument, the cosmological argument. Tomorrow we'll discuss another argument from the philosophers, which is also mentioned in the Holy Quran, and then another one, 2 or 3 more, and then we'll discuss the Quranic argument. As I mentioned, if you find this very confusing and you don't understand it, it's fine. However, when we discuss about the Quranic argument, I will want you to assimilate and understand it fully. And you can always use this against people who deny the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As I end, my last announcement is one of our reciters, Brother Abdul Hadi. Brother Abdul Hadi, you could come. Maybe you have never seen him. So you can see him today one-on-one. Have you seen him? You always see his back. This is Brother Abdul Hadi. Very beautiful recitation, mashallah. Brother Abdul Hadi tomorrow will be traveling to Tanzania. He is participating in the international competition of Tanzania that takes place every Ramadan. And mashallah, he is one of the representatives of Kenya. He's representing our country, not only Parklands, our country. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him and protect him. Make du'as for him that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants him success in this competition and also prosperity in the hereafter. Jazakumullah khairan. Takbir.